Greetings, everybody, and welcome here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're doing the start of the week, which is the episode this week, which comes out every Sunday, usually around 12, sometimes a little bit later, depending on circumstances and time. So normally what this show does is it kind of talks about what's coming up on the channel for the week that is coming up now, and maybe stuff that's going to come up future, maybe next month stuff. And sometimes I do go a little bit into the past. If there's a particular issue that I think needs addressing, I will do a kind of discussion about that as well. So without further ado, we will get right to what is happening, what episodes are happening this week. So the first episode will come out tonight, the Great Album Challenge. This is the year 1992. I apologize that it didn't come out last week. I wasn't able to find it on my email. Ben resent it to me, so I now have it again. So we will be doing that this week. 1992 was a good year, lots of really good albums, lots of box sets, and this one will be the first one to feature box sets. Two of them, one by Pink Floyd, the other one by King Crimson, will be in this box set, and I will rank them according to see how they fit in with the other 8 albums that he sent me. Obviously, box sets have a bit of an advantage because they usually have a lot more material, a lot of more albums. So my way of ranking them into this will be that my overall feeling about how good of a box set it is the way I'm going to go about it, rather than say, oh, I love this box set because these 7 albums are better than any of those stuff that's coming out. Well, that might very well be true, but most of those albums came out prior to this year, so we can't really say they were the best, that this was the best of 92, because they're not actually from 92, but the box set itself is. So that's what we're ranking. The next show that usually comes out during the week is Monday night's Look Back at a Classic Rock Album. Did very well last week with Boston's Don't Look Back. I'm actually kind of surprised how well it did. I didn't think that many people would follow this album as much as they did. Sorry, I burnt myself earlier. It's irritating me a bit. Anyways, so tonight I decided to do an album that I've passed on several times because I wanted to get to the proper venue, and that Styx's Grand Illusion, one of my favorite Styx albums, in the top 5 for sure. And often considered to be their magnus opus, their big album, their biggest release to date. And, really classic kind of hard rock, progressive rock album. One of my first ever endeavors into progressive rock. There are several progressive rock songs on this album that are really classic. So we will be doing a look back at that album for Monday night's Look Back at a Classic Rock Album. So Tuesday night, last week we did metal. And we did Raven's Age, which is a metal band from England who have the son of Steve Harris from Iron Maiden. His son is in this group, George. Really good 3-album. It was a 3-album kind of discussion and a little bit about the band. I just wanted to give some attention more to Raven's Age since they were the What's New the week before. So this week we're doing What's New because it's its turn to come up, and I had about 3 or 4 albums I was thinking about doing here, and then I decided, well, this one is fairly fresh, so I'll do this week, and that's Alice Cooper's Road. I've grown a little bit to like Alice Cooper over the last couple of years. Before that, for some reason that's perplexing to me in some ways, because I was a huge Kiss fan. You would think that this would definitely fall well into that wheel well from that time period, but it never really did. But anyways, we're going to talk about his newest release called Road, which will come out on Tuesday night. On Wednesday, we're doing the favorites again. Now, last week I did a Yes ranking of the Yes discography, probably well overdue to be done. And I decided this week I picked one of the albums from the discography, and I'm going to do a song ranking from that album. The album I chose to do is Drama, and for some reason I have misplaced my prop on Drama. And without my glasses, here it is. I put it back in, I don't know why. Yeah, I grabbed the wrong one. Funny thing about glasses, I can't see up close without them, and I can't see if it's a little too far away with them. Yeah, I need bifocals, I guess that's what it's trying to say. Yeah, so we'll be doing this album for those of you who are familiar with the S discography, and I still have not yet figured out how to flip that around, but I'm hoping that I will get some assistance with that whenever my friend returns from his sauntering. I will get him to show me how to do that. I've looked and I cannot figure it out. Anyways, Drama is the album we'll be doing for the album song ranking for Wednesday Night Favorites. The Thursday night we have Forward Champion, and the Forward Champion that just came out recently, featuring Gentle Giant up against Rush's A Farewell to Kings, completely surprised me again. This band has not even given up one single vote so far. And maybe they have today, I never checked, but yeah, it looks like it's going to be Gentle Giant in there again. And if it is them, they will be facing an album from, I'm going all out here this time to see if I can knock them out of their pedestal. I've chosen the album Who's Next by The Who, one of my favorite albums. I know it's a classic, well-loved album by people. Does it have enough to knock Gentle Giant out here? We are going to find out. And if Gentle Giant, for some reason, Rush makes a comeback, then they'll be facing this album instead. But it's pretty insurmountable at this moment. Okay, so on to Friday night for the Monster Hits. So basically what I do with Monster Hits is I go through the list of big hits for that year, according to Wikipedia and a few other sources. And I take those hits and I look at the ones that I think are the best, or my favorites, and I put all these songs down and then I sort through them and I come up with the 10 best of that year. For me, what I think are the 10 best. Obviously, Billboard and all them have their own rankings for that year. If I was just to go by that, then I would just be reciting it, right? And that's not the point of this exercise. Is for me to give you my particular favorites. So I have picked out, I will pick out 10 of from that year for that show. Apparently last week I missed out on AC/DC completely, and I'm not really sure why that is. I mean, if I looked at my notes, I bet you I can tell you why. Because normally what I do is I go through, and if I see they've got all these songs listed for the year 1980 that were hits from that group, I will always check the song to see if it actually came out in that year. There's been a few songs I've had to eliminate from the release because they didn't come out that year. The album came out that year, but they were maybe the second or third single from the album that were released, and they weren't released till the following year. And I suspect that's what happened with AC/DC. I suspect that they didn't release that album. I think came out late in the year, and I think that they didn't release anything until 81. But I didn't see anything in the 81 this year so far, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. But I will take the hit if it's meant to be. Okay, so that would be Monster Hits for Friday night, the year 1981. The last video for the week, as far as the regular scheduled stuff, is not really a regularly scheduled weekly show, but it comes out once a month on the last day every month, and that's my new releases, stuff that I've purchased, or I've sometimes often call it my album hauls. Haven't got much so far, although that may change today. It probably will change today. I did order some stuff from Laser's Edge, although so I thought, but I checked this morning and it never went through, so I'm thinking I did something wrong possibly I didn't send it properly, or there may be some other complication that I'm not aware of, so I'll have to check into that. And I was hoping to get that package as well, but it looks like that will not happen until probably till next month. But at any rate, so there you have it. This week's album hauls will come out on Saturday because that's the last day of the month. Okay, and then we also have the series that we're running for the month of September, which is The Other Prog War, for those of you who haven't been following it. It's basically much more obscure progressive rock bands that weren't like a headliner or even a second headliner, like ones or twos. Maybe they're a little more progressively obscure. Maybe they only had a couple of albums, or maybe they were big in one area but not really big internationally, or they might have had a lot of band changes or members changing from band to band, and so a lot of what's the word? I can't think of it. But anyways, so a lot of different reasons why these bands never became household names. I guess is a good way to put it. They're not household names, but we're doing a battle for them because this is a prog channel, and I wanted to give some attention to some of these lesser known prog bands that I think, many of which I think are really good. In actual fact, Ben chose all 30 of these bands based on his 32, based on his experience, and many of them are really upper edge, really good stuff. Not some of them, there might be a few that aren't that I didn't care for, but overall I think these are all pretty strong stuff. So the final episode of this round 2, went this morning between Step Ahead and Hameladal band, the Indian band. So those two went this morning, so if you want to see the results, you could watch that. And then we'll be starting round 2, or round 3, I guess it is, tomorrow, the semifinals or quarterfinals between the remaining 8 bands. So that's what's going on with the series for this month. There may be a odd video release. It really just depends on time, really. I have some of my other series that I periodically run an episode of. Many of them have stuff on the docket to be done. However, it's just time factor. So the main weekly show and the series get priority of my time, and then if I have extra time, I put them in. But I haven't had any for a while, and I don't expect that I will for a bit. The Roy Orbison thing will probably come out next month. I'm not doing a monthly series next month. I'm going to do 2 mini-series, one on hard rock, because Ben put this to me about when the progressive rock, the Big Six, came out. I just did that on a whim. I thought, it'd be nice to talk about these 6 bands that everybody calls the Big Six. They're not necessarily my Big Six. Maybe 2 or 3 of them might be in there, but for the most part, I would have had maybe a different group of 6. But these are the ones that are often talked about. But Ben put it to me, he said, maybe you should do what you want and not worried about what other people want. Well, sometimes you do it that way, and sometimes you don't. But he did put to me to do a hard rock one because he, like me, I'm a progressive rock person first, but I do like a lot of hard rock quite a bit. I've narrowed it down to 13 bands at the moment, but I'm only going to do a big 7, or we'll call it the Hard Rock 7. I think the 7 hard rock bands that I think are the most influential, most well-known, well, not necessarily well-known, but most influential in some area of hard rock. Hard rock is a little bit difficult because some of these bands air a little bit south to maybe more of a pop sound. Some of them air a little bit north, almost maybe a little bit of a heavy metal sound, but I try to keep them in the hard rock era. And then I'm also going to do another mini-series, and I'm going to call it the 7 metal bands, the 7 big metal bands. I was going to just do what they call the big 4 metal bands, but we all know Anthrax, Slayer, Megadeth, and Metallica are those four. But since I don't know a great deal about any of those four bands, I don't see that there'd be any point in me talking about that. So I decided to do I'm going to do 7 metal bands that I think are the big 7 for metal, just in my own observations. Of course, I'm not a metal person through and through. Metal tends to be in the rankings of the way things go with me. It's progressive rock, hard rock, and then metal. Those are the 3 that I like. And I do like quite a bit of folk music as well, but and pop as well. But those are the 3 kind of areas that I listen to the most. So metal is not my big forte, but I would like to talk a bit about it. Since I've been doing a show called Metal, I've started to gain some opinions about it. So I thought I would inundate you with them. So we'll be doing a 7 for the metal and a 7 for the hard rock bands as well. The metal one, I pretty much got it in my head, the 7 I want to do. The hard rock one, that's going to be tough because there are 13 bands here and I don't want to kick out any of them, but I'm not doing a 13 because that's just not the right kind of a number. Anyway, so that's what may be coming up in months ahead. We may do another series in November. It really will depend on time. But I'll know sometime, at some point during October, I'll know. And I don't think we'll be doing a band battle because as much as I like doing the band battles, they are very time consuming. You have to listen to both albums. You have to get it that's a lot of albums to listen to when you don't have a lot of time. So I may do something else. I have a couple of other ideas of things I want to do. I'm thinking about doing another year, my favorite albums of a year. Haven't done one of those for a while. I have a year in mind too, so we will get to that when we get to it. So there you have it. That's it for today for this week. I hope that there's something in here that you can find that you'll enjoy watching, and I like to let people know in advance what's going on so that they can schedule their time so that they don't miss any of the exciting content. So take care, and we will see you soon. And don't forget to like and subscribe while you're at it. Take care.